All right. I think we are live. At least that's what it says. All right. Okay, everyone. Well, I am Tasha Haskins, Mrs. Curvey Globe 2020, and welcome to the inaugural, the debut, the first Choose You Mrs. Globe powered IGTV show. Hi, Mom. All right. So I'm incredibly excited. Choose You, again, is the Mrs. Globe powered IGTV show that's going to inspire you to your life's crescendo by learning how to choose you each step and every step of the way. So I am incredibly thrilled about this opportunity. Of course, the title Choose You comes from my new book, which is Choose You, Change Your Path, Walk in Your Purpose. I am incredibly just excited to talk with different industry professionals about what it looks like to actually choose ourselves. And believe it or not, is the most selfless thing that you can do for the people you care about and for yourself. So many of the guests that I'll be having on the show are going to be, again, industry professionals from in the mental health industry, the medical industry, entertainment, beauty, fashion, self-love, athletes. It's going to be outstanding. So I'm very excited. I see the people logging on. Hi, Marilyn. All right. Hello. I saw my mother on there. She was the first person. Thank you, Mom. All right. Good morning to you as well. I see Consuela. Hi. I, again, am incredibly thrilled to be hosting the show. And if you are just now coming in, this is the debut first ever for Choose You. Again, a Mrs. Globe powered IGTV show that is going to inspire you to your life's crescendo. So I'm incredibly thrilled. Now, my first guest is incredibly important to me, not only because she owns the network that I'm on, but this woman 25 years ago birthed something inside of her where she created a foundation for women in need. And then from there, she birthed the Mrs. Globe pageant, which is the primary fundraiser for women in need. And then from there, multiple different programs that women all across the globe are benefiting from and learning how to achieve self-love. You guys are going to hear more from her. And that is Dr. Tracy Kemble. Of course, I had to have her as my first guest. I mean, it's almost like that's just the way it should be. So I'm incredibly excited. I think I see her on here. I think she's requesting. No, my mom's requesting, which, Mom, you don't get to be on. It's not your interview yet. All right. So as we're waiting for Dr. Tracy to join us, I'm just going to kind of share with you where this idea birthed from. And again, it's just so important that we take that pause in our life, right? And we determine, hey, it's time for me to put my own oxygen mask on. I really enjoy the analogy. I think my mom probably shared it with me about how when you're in an airplane, right? And they say first you got to secure your own mask before you try to put it on your child or put it on anybody else. And of course, if you're suffocating, how are you going to help anybody else, right? If you're dying, how are you going to help anyone else? So that's really what this show is geared towards, is you choosing you securing your metaphorical oxygen mask. Again, I am incredibly thrilled. I see everyone joining in. Oh my gosh, this is super exciting. I have... in the past, I did like a TV show hosting, but it was like kind of a boring experience. So this is way more up my alley, and I'm incredibly thrilled to represent Mrs. Globe as well as speak about things that I'm very passionate about and bring professionals to be able to speak to you so that you guys can also have tools to walk away with at the end of this show. As we are waiting for Dr. Tracy to join, hopefully she's able to get on soon because I have some amazing questions for her. Amazing things. We're going to dig deep into, her testimony and just kind of how she went from where she was at to having a doctorate and wanting to help women all around the world. I believe it's going to be incredibly powerful. It's going to be one of those things that goes, man, like, I think I have the courage to choose myself. So I see everyone waving. Hello. Hi, Janet. How are you? This is so great. I love it. Hopefully there's not like any technical difficulties. So Dr. Tracy is amazing. And she's like, Tasha, you can have the first 10 minutes to just talk. And I'm like, I could probably do that for 10 minutes, but I'm very anxious, again, to get to the professionals that can show you and give you kind of their tips and their life experience on how to be able to choose you. So again, very, very excited. I see a lot of people. I see Dee. Oh my goodness. Awesome. Svetlana. I love it. I love it. Another thing that I love about the Mrs. Globe organization, how they provide opportunities to women. I probably would have never had this platform in this way without being a part of Mrs. Globe. And again, I'm very big, obviously, as you guys know, on healing. I've been going through a journey myself for the past 3 years. And one of the programs that Dr. Tracy hopefully will speak to is her Reclaiming Me program. Every single week I attend, it's like a virtual support group of sorts. And I call it kind of my mental health toning, when you drop a bunch of weight, right? You're like, okay, yeah, I dropped a bunch of weight. Oh, hey, BVI, what's up? British Virgin Islands. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I will be in the BVI in a couple of weeks. I cannot wait for that, to take part in their amazing event for British Virgin Islands Mrs. Globe. So I'm very excited for that as well. Yay! I see you guys. This is so awesome. So Dr. Tracy is like, she's being fashionably, she's like, no, Tasha, you're gonna do this. So, and that's okay. This is good for me. As much as I love the talk and everything, but being live is a whole nother level. But again, going back to, we got Russia. Okay. Hey, hello. I love it. It's just so surreal to be a part of this organization and be able to connect with people from all across the globe. That is a big deal. But going back to the Reclaiming Me program, women from all over the world are partaking on a Wednesday or a Thursday, learning how to reclaim their lives, learning the different self-love planks. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it because Dr. Tracy knows her programs best, but I know as a participant over the last 8 months, just how much has impacted me practically. So I'm incredibly excited. And then, okay. Yes, ma'am. All right. So I got the BVI reminding me about encouraging women, curvy women, to be a part of Mrs. Globe. Yes, the Curvy, which I am the current Mrs. Curvy Globe, again, 2020. My predecessor was the beautiful Alicia Plose. She from Canada. And I just love seeing the diversity of everything. But the Curvy division was inspired because Dr. Tracy believes that every woman deserves to have a seat at the table. And it really leveled the playing field so that women of all creeds, ages, shapes, and sizes can have that opportunity to represent, such as I have. So I'm very excited for that. And there's Coretta. Hi. Coretta, I just knew that you were going to be on here first thing. Also, I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to Shalonda. She is a very prestigious Seattle makeup artist. She made sure that I look studio and TV ready. So I'm grateful for that, as well as my cute little haircut by Vanessa, who is an amazing artist. She owns Queen's Allure in Washington State as well. And then, of course, you guys, I had to wear my favorite color, royal blue. You know how that goes. So very, very excited. Hopefully I am getting notification. You guys give me, I see Dr. Tracy. She just popped on. She probably is like, okay, Tasha, I'm going to save you now. So I'm very excited, you guys. Our guest of the hour, rather the half an hour, has just come on. I don't know if she's going to send me or I should send her a request. Dr. Tracy, I'm going to send you a request. How about that? And so once she accepts it, she will be on with us. But if you guys, again, are just now joining me, again, Dr. Tracy is the president of Mrs. Globe, the founder and creator of the Women in Need Foundation, as well as all these amazing programs that women all across the globe are learning how to love themselves, how to do this thing called life in a healthy, managed way. So Dr. Tracy, it looks like I'm waiting on you to accept my request, and then we can get this going. So I'm very excited to interview you. I think she's coming. Let's see. Yes. You guys, this is like, I think she's coming on. All right. Oh, Ekaterina, hello. I don't know what time it is where you're at. I know it's probably like, I think you're like 12 hours ahead of me. How are you? And Miss Dr. Tracy. I don't know. I did. Oh, there's she. Oh, she's not able. Okay. Dr. Tracy, I'm going to have you request and then see if that works a little bit better. You guys are going to be so excited for this guest. She is powerful, yet so humble, and will have so many things to share with us today on how to choose you. There she
Here
is.
I am. I'm so sorry for my little delay.
Okay. I was like, she said, Tasha, it's your first one, so I'm going to have you sweat for a little bit. I'm like, she's doing it to me.
Good to you. Congratulations. I hope everybody can hear me. I have these headsets that, sometimes like I talk into the charging side of it, not the microphone side, because I am an absolute boob when it comes to technology.
Well, I hear you and you look great. So,
Thank you.
welcome, welcome, welcome. I've been sharing with them just a little bit without giving too much away because I love the questions that I have for you. And I think hearing them directly from you, Dr. Tracy, is going to be so much more powerful and resonate. So, we're going to just like jump right in since we had some little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm excited you're here. Again, it's just an honor for you giving me this platform with the Mrs. Globe organization to even be able to do a show called Choose You. I think it's going to impact so many people. So thank you for providing that platform. Thank you for this opportunity. And again, thank you for everything you've done, which everyone by the end of this interview is going to be like, so I love that. All right, Dr. Tracy, I'm just going to kind of like dig right in with you. Of course, you founded the WIN Foundation and then created Mrs. Globe and then all these amazing programs that women all across the globe's lives are being changed by. Can you share with me just a little bit of your personal testimony? Of course, we all see the glory, right? But not all of us know the story. So if you would share with us a little bit about your testimony.
Yeah, I would love to. There's a couple of things I had when I was young, like many young women, the dreams that I wanted to do and become. And, I always thought that I would go into the line of journalism and, press secretary and things of that nature. Those are like the things that I had in my sightline. And then life happened, and I found myself experiencing something called trauma, and I'm not going to go into great detail of it, but basically, with the series of traumas that I experienced, it changed the direction of my life, and all the things that I had planned for my life, they just didn't happen. And so I found myself in a highly abusive marriage, and to the point that I actually had to go into hiding and disappear because, oh, he just wanted to kill me. That's always fun. and and little things like that kind of change your perspective on trusting people and trusting yourself, and anxiety and things of that nature, right? So fast forward my life. I went through this whole thing, and my life literally turned upside down, and I had to reinvent myself. And so ever since that I was young, I always believed that dreams were not some foo-foo childhood things, but I really believe that the dreams that we have in our heart, those passions, those things that wake us up in the middle of the night and they wake us up in the morning, and you talk about them and you just feel light and hope and excitement and an extension of yourself and all those things, right? And I realized that, okay, I'm at ground zero. I have lost everything, my house, even my identity, because I had to change my identity because yeah, I needed to have him not find me. It was one of those things that I was so naive to the manipulation of people that I left, and I didn't, at that time there weren't strict laws, and he didn't know where I was. And so he went to the bank that we banked at and said, "Oh, I didn't get my new checks that you sent me." And he got all my new where I lived and things of that nature. So I had to change my identity and everything of that nature. And so I had this thought during those really dark moments of my life where I thought, I have to rebuild myself into something. Um, I'm at the lowest I can get. I mean, this is ground zero for me. And ground zero, and I know that there's so many people who are watching this that are either sitting at ground zero or have been at ground zero or are in that trip zone and they're like, ground zero was coming, you know? It is the best place to restart your life on your dreams because continuing to run harder and run faster into a default life, into a life where every day you get up and you say, oh, life has been so hard on me and here I am working at this job. And the beautiful thing about it is that when you live your dreams and your dreams, you can monetize your dreams. You are just living life as an extension of self. So during that time, I completely reinvented myself, and I thought, okay, what do I love? And at that time, I had known years and years and years of pageants because I used to be when I was born this big, and then by the time I was 12, I was like this, and so I was definitely curvy, and I entered into the pageant world, and it took me a long time, and I finally won. I'm like, I love this, and I adore this, and I want to give this to other experiences. So I just started producing smaller pageants, recompeting in pageants. Got the USA title, went on to Mrs. Globe, got the Mrs. Globe, and took over the whole company at the end of the year. Now, during that time, as I continued to grow and grow and grow and heal and heal and heal, I realized that I had a great passion about making sure that what I went through, other people didn't go through. And the thing is nobody was talking about it 25 years ago. And for those of you who want more, I wrote a book. It's called The Courage to Say No More. And you can get it off of the drtracy.tv website or on amazon.com. Plug. And
Plug
so,
away, plug away.
so what I realized, and I'm getting to the answer to the story, is what I realized that as Tracy Kemble, nobody wanted to hear about what was happening with the world of intimate partner safety or destruction, right? But as Mrs. Globe, people wanted to listen. So began the journey of, oh, what if the brand managers can become, the voices that we can educate about women empowerment, and so many people ask me to this day, like, well, why do you use, because not everybody agrees with pageants, though a lot of people don't talk to me about it because I live my life without apology when it comes to that. So, well, why do you run a pageant as a way to fund an abuse recovery program? Because now we're more than that, but at the time it was only. And I gave him a really honest answer, and I would just look at him and go, because I have no idea how to run a golf tournament. So the moral of the story is I had to do what I knew how to do. And 25 years later, we're the number one pageant for Mrs. in the world, definitely the most glamorous. We're known as the most beautiful Mrs. in the world. The Win Foundation also celebrates its 25-year anniversary, and we have literally helped tens of thousands of women all around the globe. COVID made us go into Zoom classrooms, which was so stressful because our whole thing with our programs was like that one-on-one contact. Here's a real person. So we had to get everything online. And now the beautiful thing is we have virtual classrooms opening up all over the world, and now we're completely unstoppable.
I love it. I mean, being a participant for the last 8 months in those classes, I was only in it when it was virtual, so I don't know anything else. And I'm so grateful that you guys took that path because me in Washington State wouldn't have been able to commute to California every week for those classes.
Exactly.
So thank you for that innovation. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and the women in the Bahamas and the women up in Canada, and it's just really, really excited.
No, absolutely. And you touched on something there where you were talking about the identity thing and having to hide. So at what point were you like, I want to take my healing to another level and actually help other women all across the world heal through this too? When did you have the courage to kind of step from behind where you were at because you had to change your identity, you had to go through all that to say, you know what, I'm taking this to the next level. I want other women not just to know what it means to be glamorous walking across the stage, but what it means to be glamorous on the inside, right, through self-love.
Well, I think there wasn't, it's kind of like recovery, healing, reclaiming your life, repairing your life, that whole journey that we go on, falling into our highest potential, evolving, taking an expansion into, the next best pure definition of self. And it literally happened in step-by-step stages. Like I remember, when it first came to really leaving that abusive relationship. We were in a, and I talk about this in Courage, we were in a counseling session, and the counselor had separated us, and is there somebody else, is there somebody else? And I remember I looked at her and I said, yeah, there is somebody else, me. And so that was one point of my life that I just said, I choose me. I choose me. And she was so great because she stalled going back in and meeting with him enough time for me to get in the car and get like 40 minutes on the road before she walked back in, and she's gone and whatnot. So thank God for wise, safe people like that. Moving forward, I think that it's a constant evolution. And I remember one time, it was about 2 years after I had relaunched my life. I was in my new condo here in Southern California, and we had those fuzzy glass doors, the ones that you can kind of see who's at your front door. And not anybody knew me in this new area, just very, very few people. And there was a knock at the door. I'm like, oh, there's a knock at the door. And I came down the stairs, and it looked like the silhouette of my ex. And by PTSD, CPTSD alone, I took off running, and I went, down and out the back door, and I'm halfway down the street running. That all of a sudden I said, what am I doing? This is my life. This is my life. And if I don't stop running, I'm going to run forever. So I turned back around, had to run back to the house because it was quite a way. I was just like on that adrenaline run, and I didn't even know where I was running to, right? I go back in the house, and I'm boiling, and I march up to the front door, and I open it, and I'm like, what? It was a delivery guy. He was like, dude, just delivering some packages. But so along the way, it's choosing you it's a step-by-step process. It's definitely tied in, and the only way that you can really choose you in life is if you learn. It's been, making a long story short, you learn this gift of self-love, because if there is no self, there is no one to choose. There is no self to choose. So it all begins, and that's why in my programs, I'm 57 as of yesterday.
I know.
And you look good. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And so I'm starting this whole journey on mental anti-aging, and people teach you how to not age from the outside in, and I'm going to teach people how not to age from the inside out. And one of the first things is managing your stress and anxiety. And that's why we have a program coming up, Breaking Up with Anxiety. But our very first program, the very first program in mental anti-aging, it's the resuscitation program. And that is called the Journey to Self-Love. Because if you don't love yourself, you can dream until you're blue in the face, and you might accomplish some, but you're not going to enjoy the journey, because you're going to be on that performance feedback. Am I good enough? Am I visible enough? Have I made enough money? Yep. Or if you don't have self-love, you're not going to, if you don't believe in the dreamer, you're not going to have the dream. Yeah. So self-love is the first step to everything.
It's interesting. Before you got online, I was giving an analogy about how when we're on an airplane and they tell us, to first put the oxygen mask on ourselves, right, before we help our child or help a person, and how, if you're suffocated and you can't breathe, how you're going to help anybody else. So it's kind of confirmation of that. But I love what you said about, okay, that's cute, choose you. But if you don't love yourself, there's no you to choose. And that just gave me goosebumps. I'm like, I hope you guys are taking notes, okay? Because she does these little drop things, and then I can only take so much. So I'm just like,
Memo from Self-Love Normal.
Yeah, there you go.
If you do not love self, there is no self to love. There is no self to dream. There is no self to create. Going back to what you said about the oxygen mask, I had a real life experience with that I was flying from Orange County, California to Sacramento, California for a speaking engagement. And all of a sudden the pilot says, ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We need to make an emergency landing. And I was like, oh God, that's the last thing you want to hear. Because I always say, I am not afraid to fly. I'm scared to death to crash. So suddenly I'm hearing, flash. Oh my God. So the air attendant goes walking by, and I'm like, excuse me, can you tell me what's going on? They said, oh, Dr. Kemble, we're having a little problem with our oxygen system in the airplane. I said, oh, okay. What does that mean? And she says, and she says, well, what that basically would happen is that with the lack of oxygen, you'll go crazy and not realize it, and then you'll die. And I realized that is such women in life. It's like we're so busy, like, right? And like our family's going, like, you're a freak, mom. Settle down, weirdo sister. Instead of going, get myself stabilized, and then with clarity, oxygen up everyone else. Self-love, self-love, self-love.
And there's such a stigma around that self-love and selfishness are synonymous. And the irony is it's quite the opposite. You are probably becoming the most selfless ever when you actually do choose to love yourself, because then you're giving your best self to everyone else around you, right? And so I think it's really counterintuitive to the mindset of people. And so this has really rocked my world, thinking like, wow, intrinsically loving Tasha is actually what makes me a better contributor to even being on the planet, at all. And so it's very powerful.
It is, and the biggest thing that I have found when it comes to self-love is there's so many misconceptions from it. Self-love is not narcissism. Narcissism is a personality disorder. Requires psychological counseling. Self-love also requires a coach or a counselor to help you learn to value yourself. But that big turning point was like, without a sense of self, there is no self. And you know what was another big self-love insight to me, Tasha? And I love this, and I have to reflect on it a lot, is when we're with people, and I used to think that it was my job to make other people comfortable with me. And self-love has the rule, memo from Self-Love Normaland. It is not my job to make you comfortable with me. It is my job to be living as the highest definition, the highest potential of self. But we run into problems when people we love, or they say that we love us, they look at us when we have acts of boundaries. I'm not talking about acts of nasty egocentric selfishness, but acts of boundaries. And they have the nerve to say, you know what, you are so selfish. And the reason that when that happens now, and it cracks me up so much, is because basically what they're saying is, listen, I need you to abandon everything that you are right now and make sure that you serve your life for me so I am comfortable in this existence with you, right? That's selfish. That's ugly selfish, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so true. I mean, and it's funny because going through Reclaiming Me, when you talk about the different boundaries, and this is a great segue to my next question for you, people start feeling some type of way, like, well, why are you doing that? Because it's for me. I'm no longer living my life for you, because I have to live my life, for me, and even understand who me is and what me needs. But that was a great segue. So I now want you to 100% plug right now, because I would like, you to share with the audience just the different programs that you have. I've spoken to Reclaiming Me because that's the one that I participate in right now. But the different programs you have, and kind of what the audience is, and in what the goal is, I guess, of each of those programs. And then, of course, at the end, how people can actually enroll in those programs, because it's so, I was even talking to my makeup artist today, and she's like, I want to do that, because it's so needed. Even if you just take an hour and a half a week for you, I mean, how is that too much? That's for you. And it changes the trajectory of my whole week. I crave Thursdays at 3:00 my time, right? Yeah. So go ahead and please share your different programs and who they meet.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so originally I started out all about abuse recovery, because that was the wound that I needed to heal. And to be quite honest, every single one of my programs, you can just basically track my empowerment journey going from so the very first program that we have, I call it our resuscitation program, and that's the journey to self-love that we've touched upon. And without self-love, there is nothing. So you have to start there. The next program that I have is, I call it, like everybody wants to get a facelift, I call it getting a heart lift. And this is if you're a
I
woman
love
and
that.
you are in a toxic relationship that's killing you. Because the number one cause of depression for women is a breakdown in our personal relationships. And so we specialize in a program, and this program has been the ongoing program of WIN for 25 years. I have updated over the past few years, and now it focuses on narcissistic abuse trauma, which is one of the most it's the most common form of abuse that's out there, and all people who abuse another human being are operating in narcissistic tendencies. And the reason why it's so important to focus on the narcissistic abuse is because there's such mind manipulation that goes in there. And women for years who came out of abusive relationships didn't get the help and the support they needed, because our bodies are strong. Sticks and stones, we were always raised with that thing. Sticks and stones will break your bones, and words will never harm you. And what I learned is that sticks and stones will break your bones, and words and manipulations can cause soul trauma that can
Mhm.
kill your self-esteem. So the program is called Reclaiming Me, and it's a live program, and it's all about repairing the broken emotional system that has been traumatized by another person. That I always say that, you raise your hand. Some people say, I've never been through abuse. And I say, okay, raise your hand. Have the words or actions of another person ever traumatized you? And if the answer is yes, then most definitely
Yeah.
you have abuse trauma wounds, and you need to learn how to undo those, because they become our belief navigators, and we make all of our
Mhm.
choices based on our belief. And if we believe love hurts, we're going to manifest hurting love.
Mhm.
So, along my recovery and healing journey, also, I um, I fell in love with the power of thought, and the energy behind thought, and the science behind thought. And so that's when the whole world of manifesting began. And so I do have programs. Well, let me back up really quickly. The program that to continue to evolve, I have a handful of programs that that do the toxic detox. And what the toxic detox is getting rid of anxiety, getting rid of depression. I have a program that's called Breaking Up with Anxiety. You want to use a lot of Botox in your life? Stress out. Right? Stress out. Live in stress. And then you
Yeah.
you want to say trying to lose all this weight, get your body back in shape, and yet nothing works. Live in stress, because all that cortisol that you're shooting into your belly, nothing you
Mhm.
can do to get rid of that, right? So
Right.
so then we have all of our detox programs, our emotional detox program. Again,
Mhm.
it's becoming beautiful from the inside out, having that joy and that resonation come out of you. And then it begins, because here's something that that people don't realize. You cannot be a powerful manifester if you're living in emotional toxic shame. And a
Mhm.
lot of people, they try to start manifesting their life with anxiety running in the background, with depression running in the background, with toxic people running in the background. We have to clear all that out, because all we're going to do is push on the gas and the brake at the same time. So you get through those programs. Now I can teach you how to use these beautiful universal laws of the universe that God gave us to navigate, to make, his hands, or her hands, whatever the terminology is in this day and age, tangible, right? So,
Yes.
so I have an amazing conference. It's called Discover the Divine. And all of you Wanderlust women, this is a gorgeous program that we get on a plane. We go over to my happy place in Europe, the magical country of Greece. We spend 4 days unwrapping this beautiful divine feminine inside of us that teaches us how to be bold and sensual and exciting and passionate, and a dreamer that does, and how to just reconnect with that divine feminine. We have great female time. And then we splash in the sea, and it's magical. Limited seats on that one though, and that's coming in September. And then the other thing that I have, it's a private one-on-one It's more of like my high-end thing where I disappear. We can either do it in Greece or some beautiful location, and we spend 3 days, 2 nights together manifesting a life plan for
Mm.
you one-on-one. Or sometimes I have it that you can bring, your girlfriend or somebody that you can co-manifest with, because it's really important that when it comes to manifesting or even reclaiming your life, that you have that person that you can talk the lingo together, that
Yeah.
you can and have the manifestations. Laura, she's in town from Colorado, and I have a girlfriend here in California named, yeah, she's watching, named Tamara. And Tamara and I are where, she's like a sister to me. She's also a wind attorney, by the way. But we're manifestation partners, and we get together once a week. We eat delicious food, and we just talk like, if somebody joined our conversation, they would be like, what are you guys saying in your magic land? Okay, but we're both Aquarians like you, Tasha, right? And we're like, no, it's
You're right.
Tracyland. It's great here in Tracyland. You should try it sometime.
Exactly. I love it. Though I know, to honor the time frame of the show, but I feel like it was okay to go a little bit,
You can
over
go
because
on.
it's you and it's our first and it's the debut show, and this is really good. This is so good. And one thing I just want to, was say when you talked about just having things in the background, I think about how I've had certain levels of success, right? We're kind of like when you don't wear glasses and you need them. So you can still kind of see, like you can get around, but then when you get glasses, it's like I can see clearly now,
See now, the
yeah, the
blur
way
is
is
gone.
gone. Exactly. So that's what it's like when you go through that process that you're talking about, and then it takes what you're doing, right? All the stuff you're trying to manifest and make happen to a whole nother level. Like it removes the ceiling for it to actually go. So prior to me beginning my own journey, I was like hitting the ceiling because that stuff was in the background. And so not,
It's just, and it's, there's nothing wrong with us that it's in the background. It just keeps us from the right in us. And so many
yeah,
times people get ashamed of their issues, or like having to seek a coach or a therapist or what have you. But we can't see our own puzzle, people. See, our puzzle sits up here, right? And when we look
yeah,
up, we, we can't see what's going up there. So we need
yeah,
somebody to say, this is what I'm interpreting. I mean, a wise person, of course.
yeah.
What does this
Absolutely.
say? Cheryl Haskins, can you talk more about connecting self-love and how others view/treat you? You want me to take that one?
Yeah, go for it. You're the
Okay.
guest, so yes, please do.
So the one thing that I learned, Cheryl, and thank you for that question. It's a really good one. And the one thing that I continue to learn, because my big life mission in life, and it was my soul question, what does it mean to really love yourself? This is going to be a lifetime journey for me, something that every day I have to have in the forefront of my mind. And there are things I do automatically when I walk in self-love, and there's still things that I have to dig deep, because I was so disconnected. I just had none, and I was completely disconnected. So what I've learned in my life is people will treat you how you instruct them to treat you.
Mhm.
And and as you continue to get healthier and healthier, you will remove people out of your life. New people will come into your life. Those that come into your life, you have a much easier time saying, no, not going there again. Where those who
Yeah.
have been around a long timer, a long timer, a lot longer, you can say no, don't stop, do that. And they're so used to you being able to make you crush by, the one, I call it the 100 repeat. So, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. No, I don't want to. Let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this.
Yep.
I really don't want to. Let's do this, let's do this. And finally you're like, okay, right? Where we're stronger with people who are in shorter terms of our life, because they're seeing the new empowered self. So really it comes down to, whenever we tolerate the intolerable from other people, we're lacking in a sense of self-love. And 9 out of 10 times what I have found is really, there's people in our life that we're scared of that person not loving us. So we're not as bold as we need to be, or that they have some type of power over us. We can't succeed without them. We're not visible without them, or whatever It is. Only we all know what that message is. And, it's our job to make them happy. That's a big one for women. If I don't make them happy, who will? Well, not you. Um, and so those are the people that we have a harder time
Yeah.
being able to exercise that message of, you treat me how I instruct you to treat me. And here's the whole thing. When we are beginning to learn how to instruct people how to treat us, it's not pretty. It's like, yeah, they can stop doing that, where
We
later
don't
in
like
life, when you get more grounded in you, you'd be like, yeah, that doesn't work for me, sorry. But it's always awkward to learn to use that muscle that we've never used before.
Yes, I loved what you were saying on one of your other shows. I don't know if it was 16 in me. I'm not sure, but when you're like, that doesn't bring me pleasure, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah, how's
You
that
know?
thought? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
want
was
to do
like,
things that do.
I like that. Like, and so it's kind of something that I even have fun saying it out loud. Why not? I think that's a great kind of compass to use. And I definitely, you guys, I'm going to have to do like a part 2 because there is just a wealth of knowledge. But, it's very important before I kind of, do you have any ending thoughts, I guess? And my question for you actually was like, if a person is kind of at a fork in the road of saying, okay, I'm going to continue kind of life trying to do this for other people, or I'm actually going to choose myself, which oftentimes can be lonely at first, right? Because people are used to you being accommodating and all the stuff you were just saying. What would be kind of a statement that you would share to encourage them to go down this side of the fork to choosing themselves and walking in self-love versus, staying in that place?
It's a really good question. So one of the things that I've personally discovered is that, as my big soul question is, what does it mean to love myself? I've also, on the flip side of that, really have learned to understand that at the end of the day, what all of us really want and we're supposed to have in healthy ways is love. And so many times we, oh, would somebody just love me for who I am? Why don't you love me? What is wrong with me that I'm not lovable? Those are all the
Mm-hmm.
trauma voices when you come from love trauma, let's say. So one of the most important things for our soul is to know who really loves us. I mean, really loves us. And I had a vision. I write about it in my book, How Not to Care What People Think. And it was when I was coming out of this thing where I'm like, I just want to be me. And I want only people who love and celebrate me around me. So I still get all teary thinking about it. So in this vision, I was in this dark tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel was this light. That symbology is really easy. And I'm walking, and I'm having anxiety, and my heart is pounding, and the thought that's going through my head, and I understood in my dream, I'm coming out of this dark tunnel, and I'm going to present myself as me, who I really am. And I'm going to be that bold. And it's scary when you live your life shape-shifting, dimming down, becoming what other people need to be so they're comfortable with you. And suddenly you say, this is going to kill me. And so in this dream, I was coming out. And the only thought going through my head, Tasha, was, who's going to be there? Is anybody going to be there? Are my parents going to be there? If I show up who I am with my new beliefs, with my speaking what I really like and what I don't really like, are the intimate people in my life going to be there? Who's really going to be there? And so, I came up, and I won't tell you who's there, who's not there, but what that dream and vision taught me was that the only way that we can reach this inner stability in life is to show up in the most authentic sense of self that we can with the tools that we have at the time. And those who really love us will be there. They will love us. We'll come out chanting new things that they've never heard out of our mouth, and they're going to be like, yeah, finally, do it.
And that happens to me a lot. My mother's on watching right now. She could speak to that, where she's like, that's right. It's the different Tasha now, the new Tasha, so.
Yeah. And then, these people love you. They love you. And for our soul to be at peace, we need to know that we need to first love ourselves, but we also need to surround ourselves with people who really love us. And it is such a beautiful place to go through life. That's why
Yes,
self-love is
that is
non-negotiable.
amazing. So you guys, this was just such a pleasure to have you, Dr. Tracy, and an honor to have you. At first, I was nervous, the president of the organization as my first guest. What was I thinking? But it worked out. It broke. I thought it would be a good idea. That as we got closer, I'm like, but no, it broke the ice, and it was just so powerful and really sets the stage for everyone that's going to come after you as far as what the mission is of Choose You. Thank you guys. First, also, again, drtracy.tv, right, is your site, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I always get kind of a tongue twister there because it's like and that is where all of those research she was talking about. I want to encourage you guys to just tap in for practical support. Also, if you want to do any of the live classes, they do have facilitators and they do have people on the team that can get you guys a guest code just to try it out and see what setting aside an hour and a half a week does for you. I know that I will be doing it for the rest of my life. I'm never going to arrive. I always say that Michael Jordan never stopped practicing, so why should I, right? And I definitely don't want to
I never stop peeling off those layers and trying to get closer and closer to the journey of self-love.
Yes, exactly. So you guys, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to, again, the Mrs. Globe powered new IGTV show. Thank you again so much. And just remember, as I always say, that it's never too late to choose you, change your path, and walk in your purpose. Thank you, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Oh, Tasha, can I ask you to be on 16 and Me on Friday, and so people can hear more from you?
Oh, well, yes. And you guys are going to love. I posted on my page what 16 is, an amazing video that Dr. Tracy did. I mean, I was literally in tears when she was talking about this, and it really is a thing, you guys. So definitely tune in. I was going to say same bat time, same bat channel, but that's weird. Right here on Mrs._Globe for 16 and Me. I'm very excited. But you guys, we all have a 16, and I can't wait for that. So again, Dr. Tracy, thank you for trusting me with your platform and just with your vision. And it's just been an honor, and I can't wait to see you guys on Friday as well as next Tuesday at 9 o'clock for our next guest, and his name is Threat Brown. You guys will be incredibly inspired. All right, you guys, take care.